Hello, Adam. It's episode 101. Can you believe it? And did you know, Adam, that in the realm of numerology... Did you know, Adam, that in the realm of numerology and angel numbers, 101 is believed to represent new beginnings, growth, and personal development?
Oh.
Are you experiencing any of these right now?
No, I feel like I'm getting like a end-of-year appraisal or something, and I'm just not into that.
You're closing down a little bit.
Yeah.
I sometimes end up with personal growth when Katerina appears on the... Going a bit striker there. I apologise. Episode 101, Lucha Underground Season 1, episodes 33 to 36. We are so close to Ultima Lucha, and so close to our season finale.
Exciting.
And things are getting, well, I don't know how I felt about these 4 episodes, actually. I was going to say things are getting a bit intense. I feel like we're seeing something that we've never really seen from this season, and that is the build-up to a pay-per-view kind of
Feels
thing.
Like that. Yeah.
Which is, like I say, something we've never really seen from this format of the TV season. But they're very much focusing on what the season finale is going to be. Who's going to be wrestling at Ultima Lucha? How different is that going to look? Do you think it's just going to look the same? Or do you think we'll have a WrestleMania feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, I assume it'll all be in the temple. So I don't know what there is they can do that looks that much different, like visually, whether I don't know, because we've had like episodes that felt a bit different. We're just off the back of the All Night Long episode, and we've had episodes that are built around things like a death match and things like that, and they put their own spin on things we know that have existed in other wrestling worlds, but I don't know what they could do that would make it feel all that different. It's one double episode, isn't it? The finale. So it's
episode 38 is Ultima Lucha Part 1, and episode 39 is Ultima Lucha Part 2, but that's an hour and a half.
Right. So
Ultima Lucha is essentially like 2.25 hours sort of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Going to be interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Put the penultimate Lucha or whatever, penultima Lucha, worth watching on its own, and then the other 3 maybe sticking together or something.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm thinking because I'm going away on holiday, so what I'll probably do is watch the 1 before I go, and then watch the 3.
Save it. It's a big treat for when you get back.
For fairly close to when we record, probably.
Oh, I thought you were going to say as soon as you walk back through the door. Just throw your suitcase to the ground and sit on the couch.
That's an option. Yeah, maybe.
Right, shall we get back into these?
Yeah.
Okay, episode 33 was titled Death versus the Dragon. And right at the outset of this episode, they confirmed to us that Alberto El Patron versus my speech is all over the shop. Johnny Mundo. Alberto El Patron versus Johnny Mundo has been confirmed for Ultima Lucha. And we've got this graphic that they're starting to use for Ultima Lucha, which is like quite old school. I take it as like an old school Lucha Libre style poster. Very cool.
Yeah.
We kick off this episode with a grudge match. It's Sexy Star and the recently demasked Superfly. But before it, we see a little sit-down that Vampiro has had with Superfly. And he says he doesn't need to explain himself. And I don't think Vampiro loves it when people say stuff like that to him. But he then ups the confrontational value because he's pretty pissed at Vampiro for jumping in when Pentagon was going to break Sexy Star's arm. And what do we learn? Superfly says Dario's authorised a rematch, and this time Vampiro better stay seated. According to Superfly, I don't find him very intimidating. I'm sure Vampiro doesn't either.
Nah.
And I don't know if it's on commentary or if it's on during the sit down, but Vampiro says that he needs to stop being a bitch and get on with life, brother.
He's saying that in commentary because he's very much of the opinion that Superfly's been pissed off with the wrong person all along here. So he's been pissed off with Six Star. He seems to have been pissed off with Vampiro as well. He's like, it's your own fault. Just grow up and get on with it.
Yeah. And then, by the time the next time Superfly's in the ring, Vampiro will very much be in his corner and saying that everybody else is in the wrong. So, how many times have these two wrestled? Just the once for the mask match?
I think so, yeah, because they'd been partnered up at times, and that was all part of Dario's evil plan when he made them go up against each other and put the mask versus mask at stake.
That's right. You like each other so much, then let's wrestle. Okay, so this was good old-fashioned sexy star match. I think our one match of the season that was decent is going to have been that one against Penta, the submission match.
Yeah.
She goes for a roll-up during this match. You'll be surprised to hear Superfly just seems to be like kicking and throwing her about the place, all over the place. I did notice that he has a really unfortunate wet spot right on the seat of his trousers. And when you're wearing white tights, it's not a good look.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
That is not Superfly. Sexy eventually manages to get a back body drop on Superfly to the outside. She goes to the top and I think she falls off the turnbuckle to the outside.
Yeah.
Then when they come back in, she again falls off the turnbuckle. I think she's on an off day, is old Sexy. But she does hit a perfect plexi, which is very nice.
Yeah.
And it's by this point in the match, I wondered if maybe Sexy Star was injured. It looked like they maybe needed to cut short. And Superfly hits like a sort of sit-out powerbomb type manoeuvre and he gets a clean win, which was surprising. I
wasn't expecting it. There's a few times during the match, and then I think at the end as well, where he's trying to rip off her mask as well, which would make sense as being a bit, I had to lose my mask because I lost this match to you. So he seems to be trying for some of that kind of retribution. As soon as he started it, I thought, Sexy Star's going to do her thing where she wins with a roll-up and then she's going to scurry out of the ring and the rage is going to build up in Superfly. So I wasn't sure if this was the plan all along with the end of this one.
I don't think we should be demasking Sexy Star because I think she'd have to change her name. That's harsh. We go to this sort of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles-esque Drago montage of him training with nunchucks, which is totally random but quite fun. With the sunset in the background and all that, looks cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which takes us back to the ring. I think we're told that we're getting a 5-way.
Maybe a 5-way medallion match. But,
5-way medallion match. First out is Pentagon. He grabs the mic from Melissa Santos and she's having flashbacks. She's like, hell the fuck no, I'm getting out of here.
Yep.
He's not interested in medallions for his master. He wants something more valuable. He wants to destroy the man who took away his greatest sacrifice to his master. And that man is Vampiro. He demands Vampiro gets in the ring. He doesn't give him much chance, though, because Penta just goes out to confront him at his commentary table. Vampiro just sort of pushes him away. He's really trying to fight the demons, his old vamp.
Yeah.
But he's raging, and Penta just sort of walks off to the locker room. His work here is done. I think he's playing the old mind games, do you?
Yeah. And I mean, they sort of circle back to this a bit later on, but Penta doesn't really have any interest in being one of these medallion matches. I'm very curious about the medallions because I feel like there's been some pretty low card matches that seem to have had a medallion at stake so far. I'm not saying this was one of them. There's at least some,
Yeah, well, Jack Evans has got one, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And Phoenix has got one. So far, that's the only two, is it?
Yeah. Curious to know what's going to end up happening with these.
I thought the idea was that they combined would have made someone like godlike.
Yeah, if somebody has all the medallions, they become the most powerful lucha known to man or something like that. But,
I wonder if we're going to get an elimination match at Ultima Lucha with all the people who've got the medallions.
No, that makes sense. Yeah. That's maybe why they're not having like A-listers get these because they've already got
They've
their
actually
story
got
on the
decent
go.
matches.
Yeah.
So the 5-way becomes a 4-way for this ancient Aztec medallion. It's Marty the Moth Martinez versus Aerostar versus Cage versus the Mac. I can see that Marty the Moth has definitely struck a chord with you. Vamp has just went all quiet on commentary. He's decided to just internally rage whilst live on television. Oh my goodness, there's a lot going on with this one, as you'd expect. Lots of big, meaty men smashing against each other with the Mac and Cage. Cage just no-sells at times, and it works for his character, I think.
I'm freaked out by Cage, like, holding people in suplex positions and doing squats and stuff like that. It's freaking me out.
He does it. Cage does a fall-away slam on Aerostar out the ring at one point, and that sounds ridiculous. Like, that makes it sound like he's throwing a child about, but it kind of looks like that a wee bit. He throws him onto Marty and the Mac on the outside. I stand by my thoughts that the Mac is amazing in the ring.
Mm-hmm. He is. He just really, really needs that change of ring gear. That's all.
That'll do it. That's it. I could see him like an Andre the Giant get up.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
Nobody really tries to rock that these days, do they?
Nah. Big Show's probably the last one. These days it's all jazzy trousers and whatnot.
We need to jazzy.
Get back to jazzy. Who won this match? Aerostar won this match.
Yeah.
Surprisingly. Which, when you consider who's in the match, it's quite surprising. Marty the Moth, Aerostar, Cage, and the Mac.
I do. So they seem to have been trying to have Cage. There's a few moments where Cage and the Mac are up against each other, and I thought, are they going to go somewhere with this at some point? So we've already had Cage beat him down in the locker room to become partner for.
Yeah, they've had that already, haven't they?
And I thought maybe the Mac will come for some revenge. I do like there's a thing Aerostar does where he runs across the top rope. From like turnbuckle to turnbuckle, and he does that just before he hits. Is it like a flying head scissor thing or something like that off the top?
Do you like that move?
Yeah.
Oh, you've changed.
I just like the balance. It's impressive.
My oh my, how you've changed.
There's also at the start of this match on commentary, Vampiro's talking. He's quite remorseful. He's lost his cool. And he's apologising for that, and then just what seems like seconds later, he apologises again because he's distracted and he can't get into this match that's going on in front of him. And I thought, it feels like there's something simmering, but then he just starts in rants about Marty the Moth being a creep and a stalker and stuff like that. Poor Marty.
Marty's all right in this match, actually. He's at one point he's sort of turning about the place doing arm drags, sort of showing off that he's got the aztec in his roots and his veins. He hits a lovely exchange kick on someone that I've not taken a note of. But ultimately it's all for nothing because Aerostar gets the win. I don't care for Aerostar having a medallion, I have to tell you.
Nah, but again, you're probably right in terms of there's surely going to be a match with everyone who has a medallion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, we've got the Love Triangle doing a bit of training, bit of workout. It's interrupted by Katarina. She says sooner or later death will come to all three of them, and there's nothing they can do about it. And then apparently I'm referring to them as the Jobbers of Death. What's their name? Disciples of Death.
Disciples of Death.
They appear and it's like purple cartoon lightning. Yeah. And I wasn't clear. Are these people like? Bear with me here, but are these like part of Mil Muertes? These people?
I don't know.
Are you getting that? No.
No, that didn't occur to me. But see, this is like we talked about this on the last episode, where it all gets very cartoonish with these guys.
Aye.
So you've got Katarina, she's doing, what she does, and what I like with her character is when maybe is she really there? are people just spooked and having visions and things like that? I like that side of things. These guys turning up just kind of takes me out of it. And we weren't very impressed, I don't think, by them in the ring last time.
Nah.
But I feel like there's an inevitable thing going to happen here. And I'm just not really here for it.
Same. The thing is, if these three were opposing Mil Muertes, they would rip them limb from limb, which I'd be up for seeing. But the reason I say are they Mil Muertes, because Mil does appear, doesn't it? And these three disappear in a puff of purple lightning and smoke. So, but then we see them in another episode and they're all together, so they can't be. Okay, so I think last time we saw in one of the episodes Drago win the number one contendership for Ultima Lucha. He'll be taking on Prince Puma for the Lucha Underground title. But Dario being Dario, he has also promised Mil Muertes a chance to become number one contender after Katarina nearly choked him out in his office. So he set up a new number one contender match for Drago versus Mil Muertes, which is our main event of this episode. Thankfully, it went the way that we both hoped it would go. Before the even match gets started, though, Hernandez appears. He whips poor little Drago with a belt and chokes him within an inch of his life. But Drago tells the ref that he still wants to go. Were the believers chanting Mamacita at Katrina?
They were chanting something. It might have been that. Yeah.
My son goes, "Are they chanting Mamacita?" I was like, "Yeah, no idea." This was, they set it, I mean, they're keeping Drago strong sort of thing by having him attacked by Hernandez.
Yeah.
But we get a lot of powerful male behaviour. Which unbelievable spear by Mil. He sends Drago flying across it. Drago genuinely may only be about 3/4 the height of Mil Muertes. Drago finally hits a dive to the outside. Mil just gets up. On the outside, he throws him across a bunch of wooden chairs. It looks sore. He then spears him onto them.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. He power bombs him on the commentary table. Even after all this, Drago mounts a little bit of a comeback. It's a tornado DDT. But ultimately, our boy Mil gets the job done. Flatliner. It's all over. Does she get a lick in? Katrina, she must do.
She does, yeah.
And the show goes off the air with Prince Puma stand at the top of the stairs with Conan. And that's going to be our main event for Ultima Lucha. Prince Puma, Mil Muertes. As it should be.
Yeah. I think that feels appropriate. I don't mean to be disrespectful to Drago. I don't think we were that enthusiastic for the prospect of a Prince Puma and Drago rematch at Ultima Lucha. I think they've done the right thing here. Like you said, they've done it in a way that feels like it kept Drago strong, and the crowd were quite with Drago again here. Every time he had a comeback, I noticed there were a couple of times where it seemed like they're very much going down the route of, remember Paul Bearer, he would raise the urn and Undertaker would sit up or whatever, and when Katarina raises the stone, it seems like Mil it's not so much a sit up from a position where he's just had a move performed, and then it's more of a, we're done here now, let's just end this and we'll move on.
Okay, likes and dislikes for this fella?
I'm not into the Disciples of Death. Nah. Which is saddening me, because I'm very much, a fan of Mil and Katerina. So yeah, that's I just kind of want it to go away, but I feel like it's not going to for a little while. I thought the match was okay. I like the way Mil's ridiculous power is showcased. I think beyond that, I'm kind of intrigued about where they're going with Vampiro. And yeah, the rest of the show, just those were the bits I enjoyed.
Yeah, it kind of feels like that we had a little bit of a peak with the trios titles, with the tournament and then it's kind of been like, not really got much to do with them now.
Yeah.
These three guys, it's not it. It's not it at all. Okay, let's talk episode 34, Gold and Guerreros.
Okay, so we get a bit of the history of Chavo Guerrero and the Blue Demon and Black Lotus shenanigans that have all gone on. You can never trust Chavo Guerrero, very clearly. We get Dario with Chavo, and he's offering Chavo a title match with Prince Puma tonight as a thank you to Chavo. He is seeing the Chavo he wanted to see, apparently, now in the temple. It's going to be a no DQ. Now, Chavo has aligned himself with the crew. He seems to be the boss of the crew, so we're stacking the deck a bit against Prince Puma here. Dario says, on top of that, that if Conan gets involved, that Chavo will automatically win the title. I feel like that's escalated pretty fast. Right there. We are also going to get Hernandez and Drago tonight, so obviously a bit of history with that pair, and that all escalated on the last episode as well. So we are going to kick things off with your favourite, Daivari and Tayano. I've got it in my notes. Are the fans chanting "Golden Shower"?
Yes, definitely.
At Daivari.
Love
it. Yeah. He still has the alignment with Big Rick. It's not really been paying off that well for
no.
Daivari, but he's still here and he's involved. Quite early on in the match, he's getting himself involved, and Daivari is taking advantage. We're hearing a bit more background, which I think we've already had, about Tayano being the longest reigning champion in AAA, and Vampiro is basically telling us all the way through this match that Daivari is bitten off way more than he can chew here.
Vamp's no time for Daivari. He's calling him a jabroni and all this.
I feel like I've got it in my notes. Has he jumped the shark a little bit in terms of commentary? Remember he had that moment where a couple of episodes ago maybe, where he's looking in the mirror and he smashes the mirror with his head. I feel like he's maybe not been all that balanced since then. Now, you could maybe argue, was he ever? But I feel like it's gone a little bit further.
Aye, he's definitely going towards being a bit more unhinged. I feel like he says stuff like, "I just want to kill someone" and stuff like that more often now.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was like in a sort of funny way, like, "Oh man, this action is crazy, I want to kill someone." Now it's like, "I feel like I want to kill someone."
He's going a bit. We're getting. I think we've talked about him a fair bit before. I think we both like Tayano. He's got something about him. It's a nice leg lariat.
It's cool. Daivari. It's very Billy Gunn, that, isn't
it? We're getting moves like the X Factor by Daivari. We've got Big Rick up on the apron, and he's got the bull rope in hand. But Rick is going to get a super kick in the face from Tayano. Tayano then with a nice sit-down powerbomb to get the win. Again, the Rick help is not paying off here for Daivari.
Guy's a loser. It actually annoys me that they brought him into this show.
Yeah, I think I'm hoping for the moment where Big Rick's just going to have had enough of him. He's probably going to, have a go at him for one of his many losses, and Big Rick's just going to snap. And
he's got to realise that the money's not worth it. That'd be good.
But you might not be getting paid that night after what went on that show. We jump to backstage. We've got Conan talking to Prince Puma. He's saying he knows what Chavo is, and he is not a champion.
This is such a small sentence he says. It says so much. I really wanted him to elaborate on that. I love the way he says that. It's just like completely just like disregarding him altogether.
Yeah. We get Katarina saying that if Prince Puma survives tonight, he is going to need all the help he can get at Ultima Lucha. And then Neil's face just like... He just appears, and he's face to face with Prince Puma. And then he's gone. And Prince Puma's looking a bit baffled by all this. Poor guy never speaks, so you never hear from him. He's just selling his utter confusion at what's going on. Now we get Conan. Is this where... So Conan's speaking to somebody, but we don't see who it is.
Yep.
And he's saying that Chavo must have a plan. He's saying it's time that Mexico delivered on its promise to Chavito.
Who do you think he was talking to?
I didn't really have any thoughts at that moment because I thought, well, we know he had his buddy Hernandez here, but that's gone. That relationship's gone. That dynamic's gone. So yeah, I didn't really have any thoughts in my mind. Did you have a specific thought in your mind?
I wondered if Conan was maybe the master and he was speaking to Pentagon. I didn't expect it to be who he was talking to.
Okay. We're going to go to the match between Drago and Hernandez.
Do you think Drago looks miles crazier now than he did when he first came into the temple? He's got like scale growing down him and stuff.
Did he not have that before?
Oh, did he not? Did he?
Oh, I'd have to look back.
I think he looks a bit crazier even in his eyes, but hey-ho.
Okay. We've got Vampiro saying that because of Hernandez, Drago was kind of banished from the temple once, almost for life. And the whole sentence by Vampiro just made me laugh because it just pointed at the nonsense of the fact that Drago had to go and it was back within, a couple of weeks. Episodes.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it.
Oh.
I feel sad to say it.
Oh.
Been a bit underwhelmed by Hernandez.
Yeah.
He was so good in TNA in that tag team. They were one of our favourite things on the show.
LAX, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and, I think we thought the whole package was brilliant where they had Conan as the spokesman and then Hernandez as this ridiculous, muscle-bound aerial guy. And then we also had Homicide, who pretty good wrestler, and it worked as a package. Just not been feeling it here.
Doesn't work on its own.
Yeah,
I don't think he works as a face, and I don't think he works particularly. He works good as a face in that sort. It's almost like an underdog, but it's hard to be a gigantic underdog like that.
Yeah.
But it did work in the tag team. But here. All that cat prowling and he's just supposed to be like arrogant.
Yeah.
But he's lost quite a lot of matches. Yeah, I'm with you.
Excuse me. We get a fast start by Drago. He's on top. And then I've got in my notes that something happened with my notes and that bit didn't save. And then I've returned to Drago with a Hurricane Rana taking Hernandez off the top rope. Quite a fast-paced match here.
Aye.
Drago leaping over the ropes onto Hernandez on the outside. Hernandez trying to control the match with strength, but Drago is he's kind of just leaping all over the place onto him. It just looks so sore, but it's a cool looking move. Hernandez with the border toss throw, Drago onto the apron, the ring apron.
Have you noticed that he's only ever done that onto the apron? He's never done it in the ring.
Has he never done it in the ring here?
Nah, I wonder if he injured somebody in TNA doing it or something like that, and he's not quite cleared to do it in the ring.
It looks like it should be more painful on the apron. But,
aye, it does. Remember he used to do it to Gail Kim and just launch her across her.
Yeah, very heelish. We were fans of Gail Kim and he shouldn't have been doing that.
Nah.
Hernandez taking off a belt. He takes a belt off a fan in the crowd.
That's funny.
And he starts whipping Drago. And I assume the fan was a plant, but he looked pretty freaked out by what was going on. Hernandez is now choking Drago with the belt, and the referee calls for the bell. So Drago's going to win this one by DQ. Hernandez, very frustrated. He gets a microphone. He tells the dumb fans that dragons are not real and that their hero is just a man, and he just whipped his ass. Challenges.
I love that idea of him just like, he's not real, like, and nobody believing him. Questioning, like, people.
He challenges anyone with a problem with that to come to the ring, and he'll whip their ass too. I wondered if that guy was going to try and go and get his belt back, but nah, he just thought
wise choice. Just hold them up.
We're backstage again. We have Katerina appearing behind Chavo and saying that if he beats Prince Puma, his celebration will be short-lived, because she says that Mil will destroy whoever has the belt at Ultima Lucha. Again, we get Mil kind of appearing out of nowhere. Chavo didn't really look as spooked as some other people have been. He's just like...
He's just living by the skin of his teeth, Chavo. He's seen it all.
Yeah, true. And he did, it was at the previous episode we covered where he basically, he believes he's untouchable.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah. Chavo. We are going to go into a match which is Marty the Moth up against Alberto El Patron. So Marty the Moth, I don't know what it is. So this guy's ridiculous. And for some reason, the fact he's always wearing yellow, just, I don't know why, it just makes it worse in my eyes.
His Aztec Pride t-shirt.
But it makes me laugh.
He's standing uncomfortably close to Melissa Santos when she's announcing him. He's all like, he just looks completely unhinged.
I tell you, I'm calling it. I don't know what becomes of him, later career. I don't know what becomes any of these guys post season 1 of Lucha Underground, but I feel like in this match we are looking at two world champions facing off against each other.
All right, okay.
So Striker indicates maybe Marty should tone it down a little bit, because maybe Dario Cueto is putting him in these situations, like up against Alberto El Patron, to teach the fanboy a lesson. So yeah, I thought, was Alberto a surprise opponent here?
Yeah.
Is that what? Yeah. So I've got, shit, it's Alberto. Run, Marty. The fans massively chanting for Alberto. We get a reminder he's going to face Johnny Mundo at Ultima Lucha, and Alberto just starts beating the fuck out of Marty the Moth.
He does.
He very quickly gets an armbar on him, and Marty submits. A classic match between two legends there, I think.
5 stars. No notes.
And Alberto quickly grabs the mic, and he is calling out Johnny Mundo. He thanks Johnny for waking up this crazy and vicious side of him. It was all banter between the two of them for a while, and it's clearly, in his mind, Johnny's escalated it.
It's went too far. Yeah. He says he's going to rip Johnny's face off at Ultima Lucha.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like quite an extreme thing to do.
And but he's still running with his catchphrase.
But you already knew that.
Yep.
I've started saying that in my day-to-day life, and people don't react well to it.
Did they? Like, are you doing it in appropriate situations?
I don't know if that's ever appropriate to say, though. That's the thing.
Like saying to one of your boys, you've got to eat all your veg, but you already knew that.
That works. Yeah. Nah, I don't think I am. No. Okay. Maybe I could pick better times.
Okay.
But you already knew that.
Just to picture you saying at some big important meeting or something like that while looking
You're
across.
Fired. But you already.
We are going to get our Lucha Underground title match. Again, it's no DQ. Prince Puma defending against Chavo. So Chavo going to have his buddies from the crew here. Vampiro is now a big fan of Chavo, having previously believed that he was just riding his family's coattails. This commentary here brought up something interesting for me, because this has happened before. See, we get backstage segments, so we see stuff going on.
Yes, yep.
The announcers don't seem to have any awareness of what we see.
Yeah.
Which I quite like. But I suppose it maybe feeds into it being more a television programme that has the wrestling built into it.
Yeah, because they don't know it's a no DQ or anything like that, do they? And then they find out.
Yeah, and it plays into, sometimes in what you're watching, the characters in one scene don't know what happened in this other scene. So yeah, so Vampiro is also questioning where Bale is.
That's right.
Yeah. So yeah,
I do like that. I definitely do like that aspect of it.
Yeah, I suppose it's, if you're on WWE and they're showing it on the big screen, it's going to seem a bit stupid if the announcers seem to have not seen it. But this is played out in a totally different way. So again, a reminder that if Conan gets involved, the title will automatically change hands.
Yeah, I got a little bit confused because I was like, why is Conan coming out? Because I thought he was banned from ringside, but I'm getting my stipulations mixed up.
Yeah. Melissa Santos announced that stipulation like she did not agree with this at all. She wasn't happy to be announcing it. She's a good announcer. She puts a lot of her emotion into what she's saying. Matt Stryker's saying that Prince Puma's faced many dangerous rivals but has never been in there with a Guerrero. We get quite early on what I assumed at the time was Chavo selling a fake knee injury and the crew attacking Prince Puma from behind. And I started to wonder as we went a little bit into it, was this a fake knee injury or is he blown out his knee right at the start of this match?
I see.
See, he keeps going with it. I went to the extent of Googling it and said there was no evidence of a real injury.
Oh, really?
To the knee. But yeah, it seemed like it. And I'm questioning Conan, what have you got cooking here? Because it must be something. Because his guy is being attacked by the two members of the crew and Chavo wading in when he can stand up for long enough to do so. Prince Puma gets occasional rallies going, gets comebacks, but they're brief. The 3-on-1 is taking him out of it pretty regularly. We get to a situation where the crew are holding Puma down as Chavo's going to climb to the top rope to hit the frog splash. Only problem is it is taking him a while to climb to the top rope because of his injury. And Conan starts beckoning somebody down towards the ring. And we get Tayano running down. Now, did you have any expectation for it being him at all?
Nah. But they're setting up this thing of Tejano is Mexico.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So later on, I suppose it does make sense that he would be there representing the beef with Mexico. Yeah.
But yet again, I do like his sit-down powerbomb. It's a nice move.
He's good.
Yeah. And we're going to get Prince Puma with the 630 splash on Chavo, so Prince Puma is going to win and retain against all the odds, thanks to Conan's plan here. I felt like the whole finish seemed a little bit odd as well, which is why, again, I was wondering if Chavo had a genuine injury.
Yeah. I definitely thought he'd really injured himself.
We're going to get Tayano with the mic and telling Chavo that Mexico is not coming for you. Mexico is right here. I think that takes us to the backstage segment, am I right?
Yeah. Chavo's in his locker room after the match.
He's still selling when an incredibly dapper Blue Demon Jr. walks in. And he tells Chavo not to worry. He doesn't fight men who are already injured. Chavo starts trying to play some mind games with him. He's saying, he never heard the crowd cheer for Blue Demon Jr. the way they did for Tayano tonight. He calls Blue Demon, he says, you say you're Mexico, but you're just a has-been who lives in Miami. Blue Demon's... He snaps a wee bit. He's sending Chavo into the lockers. Demon shouts, I am Mexico, Chavo. And Chavo's kind of looking quite pleased with himself at the end of this segment, like he got what he wanted out of it.
Very thin-skinned as Blue Demon Jr. when it comes to being Mexico.
And Chavo's all about the mind games. So that wraps up episode 34. Any standout moments for you?
No, I didn't love this episode massively. None of the matches. I liked Alberto El Patron, but he literally wrestled for about a minute.
Yeah.
Puma versus Chavo was really short. I didn't love this episode, I have to say.
I think that's fair. I think you touched on it at the end of the last one. We've gone from each episode maybe feeling like it's its own thing to feeling like we're now just setting up what's coming, which is different to where we've been before.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we're going to 35 and it's called Fuel to the Fire. I see what they did there. Now I see what they did there. We get a sort of vignette of Pentagon Jr. His master's in the shadows. Pentagon's doing all these sort of samurai moves and stuff like that with his master. It sort of reminded me of something, but I can't think what it reminded me of, like some sort of 90s movie of some description. But he says that he's telling his master that Vampiro is refusing to face him. He's not the man he once was. He wants to destroy him. And then he says Ian Hodgkinson will be his ultimate sacrifice to his master. Ian Hodgkinson being Vampiro.
Yeah.
So we get Battle of the Big Boys after that. We get the Mac versus Cage. They should have saved that one for Ultima Lucha. This was just absolutely a bit mental, this match.
Someone right at the start says Lucha Ron Funches.
Yeah, Striker says it.
I couldn't move beyond.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
He must be a fan. He says shout out to Ron, he's a fan. They just seem to go back and forward. Mac does this ginormous big suplex. We get a long-standing suplex by Cage. Mac does these sort of flying knees, flying kicks that sound like they make one hell of an impact.
Mm-hmm.
He's really good at a T-bone suplex. He does one of those. I think the Striker refers to it as an exploder into the turnbuckles.
Yeah.
We get a frog splash attempt by Mac. I really like his frog splash as well. Cage practically takes his head off with that discus clothesline.
Yeah.
And they, I seem to have just like closed this match off. They exchange forearms. Mac gets a roll up and gets the win. Is that?
Yeah, that's how it goes. Yeah.
So that's quite a big win for the Mac.
Yeah, I was thinking, we've been impressed by him, but it's a bit hard to judge whether, if you're writing how this season's going to go, if people are supposed to be as impressed by him as we had been. But I think giving him a win over Cage is a big deal.
Yeah, I feel like you don't quite have a mid card and a main card or a main event scene or anything like that, but you do have an upper deck of wrestlers. I think Conquerno, Mundo, Prince Puma, Mil Muertes, Cage probably up there.
Yeah.
As like the big top ones. I would have said Phoenix was there, but he's not been seen since Mil Muertes killed him. So that's a big win for the Mac.
Yeah.
We get Son of Havoc in the locker room, getting ready for a match. Katarina appears with her. She does a little poke in the back of the shoulder. She says, soon the Disciples of Death will be after their gold, but tonight death is coming for him. Is she going to lick him?
Yeah, I think so.
Ivelisse is like, hey, what are you doing? Get away from him. But as she goes to try and strike Katarina, she disappears in the dark and she ends up lying on top of Son of Havoc, and Angelico walks in and he's like, hey, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Like, shut up! Good old-fashioned bit of slapstick humour with the love triangle.
Absolutely.
So at the start of this episode, I think they said that Vampiro had attempted to sit down with Pentagon Jr, so we get that now. So Vampiro, uncharacteristically, immediately apologises to Pentagon Jr for getting involved in his business. He says multiple times, my time has been and gone, it's your time now. And yeah, so I was genuinely surprised at him apologising.
Mhm.
He says, I don't think you can answer this, but who is this master? Penta's face is absolutely classic at that. He just smirks at him. The contacts in that, it's just brilliant. Pentagon started off quiet, but now he just sort of flips, doesn't he? He's like, these two they're both alike, or they both were alike, but Vampiro now is just a coward. Vampiro doesn't react very well to that at all. No. But he still just won't bite. 100% bite, will he? He's clearly angry. Pentagon's like right in his face. It's a pretty good segment, actually.
Yeah.
He says, Vampiro, sorry, go on.
He must have got, 2 or 3 statements or comments that he didn't answer at all. He just looked back at him. And then, basically goes into a tirade. I liked the way it was done. I thought, because I don't know, I don't think you want Pentagon just like giving normal answers or that. Like you see when he goes out and he has a mic, he's speaking, generally speaking, Mexican, and he is speaking like to his master. It sounds like there's a crowd there, but he's speaking to his master.
Yeah.
So I like the way that they've done to have this segment come out as well as it did. I was quite impressed by it, actually.
Aye, I really liked it as well. He's giving him a mouthful. He's, you won't face me. I knew it. You're weak and pathetic. Impressed that Vamp didn't bite, but he did well.
Mm-hmm.
We go to the ring with Melissa Santos. We've got Mil Muertes versus Son of Havoc. Big match for our guy, Son of Havoc.
Yeah.
I do like him, but I don't want to see him beat Mil Muertes, I'm afraid.
No.
Very keen to know what sort of doctor they've got in the temple, because Ivelisse is still on crutches. Questionable what sort of injury she's got there. This was all fairly one-sided. We do get Havoc getting little bits and pieces, but to start off with, Mil eventually just has enough, grabs him, launches him over the top rope, throws him into the row of chairs, rattles him with a steel chair, power bombs him on the announce table. Unbelievable. He hits him with one of those huge big right hands that we've seen before. We do get Son of Havoc going for his shooting star press, but he misses. It's at this point that these disciples appear and they beat up Angelico, who's also at the side of the ring. Katrina smashes Ivelisse in the face with a forearm or a punch. Oh no, it's with the rocks.
It's the rocks. Yeah.
I think that might come back to haunt her some point. We get a spear by Mil, flatliner by Mil, and poor Son of Havoc gets the lick of death from Katrina.
A game effort by Havoc.
Aye. Okay, we get Tejano on the mic in the ring. He's always been Mexicano. He says he's always loved hurting people, and I assume he says whipping their asses, but in his accent, it sounds like he says he's always loved wiping their asses.
Okay, yeah.
And I did question that, but he says he wants to settle the beef with Chavo at Ultima Lucha, and the crew arrive and jump him. They're beating him down. Oh, that one of them's always got the kendo stick, isn't it? Is that Cortez Castro?
I think so, yeah.
Mr. Cisco, yeah. Blue Demon Jr., who just clearly isn't getting paid by the hour because he's been here about 3 times the whole season. But he arrives. He's come to run the crew off. They slide him a chair into the ring, and he, not very subtly, makes it clear that he's going to hit Tejano with it. To think that Blue Demon is he in movies, or is it Blue Demon that's in movies, not Blue Demon Jr.?
Not sure.
I think it must be his dad, or the previous Blue Demon or whatever. He smashes Tejano over the head. Well, it's a bit of a Hogan steel chair shot, isn't it?
Yeah. Quite careful.
A dink.
Yeah.
He grabs the mic. He says, "Tejano's not Mexico. I am Mexico. And I don't need you to fight your battles for me. I'll fight. It'll be me that you'll be fighting at Ultima Lucha." So, So no Chavo for Tejano.
Seems that way. Yeah.
I'm
Chavo,
not arsed
everything
about
worked
seeing
out.
a Blue Demon Jr. Tejano match. Are you?
Nah.
No, okay.
Nah.
Talking about matches that we weren't asking for, our next match is an Atomicos match.
Yeah.
Which is an 8-man tag team match. It's Team Alberto versus Team Mundo.
Yeah.
We've got Alberto El Patron, Sexy Star, Drago, and Aerostar versus Johnny Mundo, Hernandez, Jack Evans, and Superfly. Quite unimpressed at Alberto El Patron's team.
Yeah, that's fair. I think if Johnny Mundo's rocking up with Hernandez, even if we're not as impressed by Hernandez as we were in the old days, that feels like it slants it a wee bit in his team's favour.
Yeah. You've got like this crap Power Ranger and Sexy Star and a fake dragon. Johnny Mundo's face is all messed up. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
What's that from? From the one night, all night long?
I'm assuming so. Yeah.
They don't. It's weird that they don't refer to it. I thought they would have referred to it.
Yeah.
We get a great wee spot where Alberto comes across to the other side. I think he ends up on the floor. He's basically Johnny Mundo's doing what he did with Prince Puma. He's sort of running away from Alberto quite a lot. And all the heels just get together and just batter Alberto El Patron on the floor. And Vampa's like, I like that.
He's turned on Alberto.
Why does he hate him so much now?
It's come out of absolutely nowhere.
We get the spot where we get Aerostar diving out onto the heels, Drago diving out onto the heels, so Sexy's like, I'll do it too, and does a total shite one. Alberto goes to go for one, but Johnny Mundo cuts him off. Alberto, in sort of Benny Hill style, chases him out the temple. It looks a little bit silly, actually.
Yeah.
We get Aerostar hitting a huge splash. Superfly kicks out. I'm not going to go through all the moves because this match is a bit similar to some other matches we've seen, but it's a little bit like one move.
Yeah, it's a bit of a spot fest.
We get Johnny Mundo and Alberto El Patron eventually coming back, which is, it's a bit weird. It's like a couple that have skulked off to the kitchen to have an argument in company, and then they've all just silently come back. But Alberto gets the armbar on Jack Evans, who manages to not tap out and stay in it for quite a significant length of time. Johnny Mundo cuts that off with hitting the end of the world, and then he rolls up Sexy Star for the win, which gives her a taste of her own medicine. Did you like
Apparently
that?
Had a handful of tights there.
Well, there you go. Heel.
Yeah.
As they're going off the air, we're getting a sort of like, thank you for supporting Lucha Underground, and we'll see you next week for further build-up to Ultima Lucha. Vampiro gets booted in the back of the head by Pentagon Jr. He brings out a large can of petrol and douses Vampiro in it. And he says the fans are like looking as if they're about to witness a death. I really like that. Sounds a bit, you know what I mean. He says if Vampiro doesn't accept his challenge for Ultima Lucha, his family and the whole world will see him burn in flames. He has 1 week to decide. And I was thinking, is he going to keep him in something doused in petrol for?
Yeah, I wondered about this as well. I mean, he's going to have to buy a whole other can of gasoline. You know.
Is the point that he's shown how easy it is to get to him?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the end of the episode. Again, it's just a bit of a stepping stone more than anything, wasn't
it? Yeah. It's I quite liked the Mac and Cage. I think I'd be fine with seeing a bit more of that. And I enjoyed the Neil Muertes and Son of Havoc match. So I thought it was what it needed to be, aside from the Disciples of Death. But yeah, it does just feel like this is all filler isn't the right word. It's the path towards the bigger show.
Aye. Do you know what I always think of on Raws and SmackDowns? It's much more so now when I see them, is that I feel like they're doing stuff to go into the video package before the match.
Yeah.
I don't feel like they're doing that here, but it's kind of just like putting things in place, isn't it?
Yeah. But at least we know, the reason why they're doing all this, because we know what's coming.
Yeah.
Okay, so episode 36.
The beginning of the end.
Yes, I should have said it in that kind of voice. That would have been better.
It worked.
Like the old school voice that used to do all of the movie trailer voiceovers.
Yeah, watching that, the guy's probably dead, actually. That's
probably
really depressing.
Yeah.
I was going to say, what do you think he does now that they all just use either boom or they get like a song from the 80s or 90s and slow it really slow it right down?
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Those were the days. Anyway, the beginning of the end. So we get a reminder about the situation with the medallions. Dario says there are 4 medallions left and he will give away 3 tonight. He is sitting across from Pentagon and asks if he is sure he doesn't want to compete for them. Pentagon shakes his head. He just offers him a medallion for the havoc that he's caused.
I like that.
Pentagon cannot stress strongly enough that he isn't interested. And if he was interested, he would have broken his arm and taken them. All Pentagon wants is Vampiro at Ultima Lucha. Dario asks when he will get to meet the Master, and Pentagon says when he proves that he is ready. We hear...
Does that mean when Pentagon proves he's ready?
I assume so, yeah. So we hear that there will be a face-to-face tonight between Prince Puma and Mil Muertes, so obviously they're going to be going into the title match at Ultima Lucha. We're going to start the night off with a medallion match, and it is going to be Bengala against Duvari.
Wow, what a treat!
That is how you kick off a show. I'm a bit shocked here that the Duvari's still paying Big Rick to do nothing apart from not help him win matches. Big Rick right at the start of this immediately attacking Bengala on the outside, but Bengala is getting on top quite easily. I don't think Duvari's up to much. I think he's a soft touch.
I believe so. I agree.
And get some early pin attempts by Bengala. Bengala flies and takes out Big Rick, who's on the outside. But Duvari takes advantage of that and hits a suplex. Big Rick's up on the apron, but Bengala pushes Duvari into Big Rick and then performs a bridge suplex to get the win. So we're getting a medallion for Bengala.
The guy's been on it for 2 episodes.
Yeah, and things are just not working out between Duvari and Big Rick.
Big Rick made a right arse of that, didn't he?
He did, yeah. It's kind of, in the past you've looked and thought, was it all his fault? I mean, I'm pretty sure Duvari, if he didn't have anyone there, would have lost, because he seemed to be getting his ass kicked. But Big Rick's not really helping very much. Vampiro is at the announce desk, as usual, but he stands up and says he has to do something. They're getting ready to go to commercial and he's heading into the ring. So
I quite like the idea that Stryker has no idea what Vampiro's going to say or do in these episodes.
The crowd are chanting for Vampiro. He has a mic. He talks about where he's been, what he's done, and how Pentagon has been pushing him for one more match. But Vampiro's very much of the opinion his time has been and gone. He says many times that he has no ego.
Hate to tell you, Ian.
He talks about what happened last week with the gasoline. He says he can dig it because it reminds him of himself. Pentagon comes out. He has consistently been getting good reactions from the crowd. Doesn't seem to matter what he does. He is telling Vampiro to stop crying, and again challenges him for the match at Ultima Lucha. Vampiro is again, he's saying, "My name is Ian Hodgkinson," which Pentagon reacts really funnily to.
Is that Ian? The crowd are laughing when he says it. He's going to look at him like, "Is that you, Ian?"
And he repeats his challenge. Vampiro says he loves his job and asks Penta to stop and tells him the answer is no. He will not face Ian Hodgkinson. He says the guy who is going to kick his ass is named Vampiro. And Vampiro chokeslams Pentagon. So apparently this is going to be Vampiro's first match in 10 years, I think is what Matt Striker says.
Wow. That's quite a pop for the chokeslam.
Yeah. So, we're going to go next.
Sorry, just to bring that back to the master chat that we've had all this time. Yeah. You believe that Vampiro facing Pentagon suggests that Vampiro is definitely the master?
I think so.
Do you think it's the final test?
Yeah, I think the way that they've been playing this is when Pentagon has been addressing him and saying things to him, he wants to bring out what he considers to be the real Vampiro, because it's almost like in his mind they are two different people. There's the one that is his master, then there's the one that is basically Ian Hodgkinson. Is that what he said?
The commentator.
Yeah.
Right.
That's where I think we're going. Have you got any other thoughts on the master?
No, I don't actually. I'm starting to think it's not Vampiro, but then your reasoning of it being a final test, I quite like. It's probably likely that it is Vampiro. Yeah, completely right.
We see Sexy Star backstage, and she seems to have kept as some sort of souvenir the mask that she ripped away from Superfly, which has been central to causing a lot of this animosity between them. Sexy Star was only really doing her job; it wasn't her fault. But she still has the mask.
Sexy Star sympathiser over here, have we?
Sometimes.
Okay.
I don't feel like this situation was of her making. We're getting a medallion match between King Cuerno and Killshot. So we've kind of seen this building a little bit over time. We've seen like Killshot there when King Cuerno was having a match and watching him. And we've had King Cuerno like addressing or staring at Killshot while about to perform a move. Vampiro is back on the commentary. He's still pretty hyped up. He full on says he wants to kill someone.
He seems to be just muttering away to himself.
Yeah. I think he's gone. He's gone. We've got a lot of chops early on by King Cuerno here. He at a point is going in for the attack and catches a head kick from Killshot, who also executes a cutter. Some nice stuff by Killshot here. Is he anyone? I haven't really looked at anything.
Yeah, Swerve Strickland, AEW.
Oh, I feel like you've already told me that. And Killshot a leap onto the apron and a Hurricane Rana. We get a running knee and a reverse. Was it a reverse Canadian Destroyer by King Cuerno? We get an arrow dive through the ropes by King Cuerno onto Killshot.
Oh, yeah.
And then what I've just termed as being a really nasty looking submission stretch by King Cuerno.
Yeah, I like that one. It's a good one.
On Killshot. So King Cuerno is going to win this match by submission, and he is the sort of the highest profile guy maybe that we've had so far that's won a medallion.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
We're going to go now into another medallion match. We are going to go into Superfly up against Sexy Star for a medallion. So Superfly is getting booed, and I think it's referenced a couple of times. He doesn't really seem to have any beef with Pentagon, who has tried to break his arm a few times, but he just fucking hates Sexy Star.
Maybe not. So we can all relate, but
Sexy Star hits a low blow and very quickly an armbar and gets the win.
One submission match and she's suddenly suddenly Ken Shamrock.
Yeah. So yeah, very, very quick match and a very straightforward win for Sexy Star. So she's going to get the medallion. But then we've got Marty the Moth. He's walking down. He takes the microphone from Melissa, and he asks if he can call Sexy Star sexy. And he introduces himself, and he wants to see that sweet medallion. Marty the Moth says that this aztec gold represents his tribe and challenges her to a match for the medallion. And I'm thinking, okay, so we've maybe got a reason why that first bit of match was so quick here, because we're getting the real main event, Marty the Moth and Sexy Star. So yeah, she puts the medallion up for the match.
No, she doesn't.
Does she not?
No, she doesn't. She doesn't say anything, and she doesn't accept the match or anything like that. She just jumps him. She's an inspiration. She's an asshole. She jumps him from behind.
I mean, Marty the Moth gets jumped by women all the time, I think.
Vampiro claims that Sexy's an inspiration to
him. We get a figure four leg lock by Marty the Moth. I mean, he's
beautiful, Marty.
Arguably the most talented wrestler to ever use that hold.
Certainly the greatest technician.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We get Sexy Star gets a second tap out with an armbar, again fairly quickly, to keep her medallion.
Do you think El Patron's waiting for her backstage to say, that doesn't work for me, brother? Stop using my move.
We're going to get a rundown now of some of the confirmed Ultima Lucha card. So I'll run through some of the matches that we've got. Alberto El Patron against Johnny Mundo.
That'll be a banger.
Oh, it should be, yeah. Tayano against Blue Demon Jr. The Love Triangle against the Disciples of Death for the Trios titles. Drago against Hernandez. Vampiro against Pentagon.
Yes.
Prince Puma against Mil Muertes for the Lucha Underground Championship.
Nice.
Yeah.
No stipulations, is there?
I don't think so. No, nothing been mentioned yet. Some bangers in there, and of course the opportunity for Katarina to walk away with all the gold at the end of the big show. We have Dario talking about the title match that's coming up at Ultima Lucha, so the Prince Puma and Mil Muertes match. Dario wants the two men to face off right here, right now. Prince Puma comes out first on his own, and Mil is out next. No Katarina, he's on his own. Dario wanted this to be a one-on-one confrontation. We get Dario saying you could cut the tension in here with a machete. Dario gets a little bit panicked as they start to show a little bit of aggression in their face-off. He doesn't want anything physical happening here tonight. And we get Katarina starting to walk down. And Dario is yelling, "No, you shouldn't be here. She has to leave." You need to know who you're talking to here, Dario. The two start fighting, but the Disciples of Death triple team Prince Puma. Conan's here to try and help his boy out. Conan manages to fight off the Disciples of Death, but then Katarina approaches him. I'm thinking, you wouldn't, Conan. You wouldn't. But Mil grabs his walking stick, and then Conan is taking a hell of a beating. Prince Puma is going to attack Katarina. I've got in my notes, she's a nice lady, don't you dare. And Mil just knocks him the fuck out. We have Katarina raising the stone after knocking down Conan, and the coffin makes an appearance.
Yeah.
And the Disciples of Death put Conan in the coffin while Neil is holding Puma and making him watch everything that's unfolding.
It's pretty messed up.
Neil is then standing in the ring over Puma, title in one hand and Conan's stick in the other as the show comes to an end.
Yep.
Yeah.
A good way to end for a build-up for Neil versus Puma. A little bit underwhelming compared to other endings of episodes we've had, but again, that comment that we've made about us being on the road, so we'll let them off.
Yeah, I'm happier on this road than, say, the road to WrestleMania or something like that.
Yeah. Any likes, dislikes? These Disciples of Death are just going to annoy us, aren't they?
Yeah, I see everything that happened there, just in that face-off thing. I think I would have really enjoyed if they hadn't been involved.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're just... I can't take them seriously, and it means that they take me out of everything else, which is unfortunate. I'm a bit more enthusiastic finding out what's happening with the medallions now that King Cuerno's got one, because I like King Cuerno.
Nice.
But yeah, I imagine has he talked about opportunities with the medallions?
Don't think so.
Like that?
Nah.
So it's still totally up in the air in terms of what's going to happen when all of these medallions are decided and potentially one person ends up with all of them. I like where they're going with Pentagon and Vampiro. I'm not sure I'm enthusiastic for a regular match because I'm not sure Vampiro's capable of having much of a regular match.
Aye, same. It's going to need to be a no DQ or something like that.
Yeah, but the story's got me. So yeah, there's bits I like. There's bits that are a bit, can we just move on now? I don't think I need to see Duvari anymore.
No,
I'm done with that. And Bengala.
I don't mind Bengala. I mean, I'm not clamouring for him to be anywhere, but I can tell you that in Penultima Lucha, or the next episode 31, Dario reveals the meaning of the Aztec medallions.
Okay.
We get Tejano versus Johnny Mundo, the Mac versus Cage again.
Oh. Okay.
And a huge main event, a battle royale for the final Aztec medallion.
Okay.
So that sets us up. I wonder what Mac and Cage will be doing at the pay-per-view, because they don't have matches, I don't think.
Yeah, I had wondered with what happened in the last match between them if they might end up having a match at Ultima Lucha between the two of them. But if they're doing this again, then maybe not. We'll see.
We do often see that in this show, though, don't we? He sets up, like they have a match, and maybe one got that. Then they have another match, and who won that? Mac won that, so maybe Cage wins.
Mac won that. Yeah,
could
possibly
be onto something there.
Yeah.
Well, we shall see. I'm really looking forward to Ultima Lucha, I have to say.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, this wasn't anywhere near the best 4-episode run we've had, but I think quite excited for the next ones.
Yeah, same. And prediction wise, we think we're going to get Vampiro. Well, we're going to get Vampiro versus Pentagon. We think he'll bow to the Master potentially after beating him.
I think so. Yeah.
And Meal versus Puma. Do you have an inkling of?
Yeah, I think Meal's going to win it. I think Puma, held it all the way since the start. I think last episode, I think Meal will win it. I
can see it. Yeah. And I would be on board.
Yeah.
With that. And I think probably your Disciples of Death will end up with the trios.
Yeah.
And I think they'll have all the gold.
that kind of feels inevitable. I'm excited for the Alberto El Patron against Johnny Mundo match, because that's got the potential to be the match here, I think.
Yeah. The only thing I was thinking is that obviously we've quite enjoyed the fact that there's a lot of story going on. There's a lot of sort of hokey camp stuff going on backstage and in various scenes. The only thing I'm concerned about is losing that, and if it's just wrestle. But we'll see how it's done.
Yeah. I suppose if it's bringing a lot of storylines to a conclusion, there might not be those segments that are setting things up. But yeah, we'll see.
We've still got Black Lotus to. Do you think that might be a series long thing, or that surely has to come to some sort of conclusion during this season, doesn't it?
The fact it's gone a bit quiet, I just don't know. I suppose it could be something they kick off season 2 with.
Oh man, they're honeydicking us already. We haven't even got to it. Do you know what? I love the idea of there being like, what was the match called where there was like loads of people in it? You know, they came down Aztec Warfare.
Aztec Warfare. Yeah.
I love the idea of there being like a match like that, and this brother of his just breaking out of his cage and just like wrecking people.
Absolutely destroying everyone. Yeah. Yeah, that could happen. Yeah.
I'd like to see his brother by the end of this season. And Black Lotus get eaten or something. Cool. All right. Well, so are we 2 weeks' time, or are we not 2 weeks' time? Are we 3 weeks' time?
I think
we can work it out.
Yeah, we'll figure that out, because I think it'd just be whether I think I had time to watch it from when I got back until we would record. We'll figure that out.
Excellent. Cool. All right. Nice short one today. We'll go and we'll go and get some press ups done and get ready for Ultima Lucha.
Get ready. Yeah.
Get one of these medallions on the go.
Nice.
Right. Cool. Take it easy.
Cheers.